Hey, everyone, welcome back to 996. What could have been one of the best months in franchise history. Could have won the draft lottery. Could have had a yes vote for a brand new spanking entertainment district with an arena. Everything would have been smooth. It's kind of went the exact opposite way. I would say one of the worst months in franchise history. Not going to talk too much about the arena. They still got to figure it out. People want the owner, Alex Morello, to come out and speak. You can't really speak unless the NHL approves what your plan is moving forward. They're still talking with the NHL, potential sites, so I'm sure that'll all get ironed out. They just got to figure it out, and now they have the pressure of fans, players, management. Everyone is eager to see what the Arizona Coyotes are doing. So they definitely are feeling the heat. It's not to say that it's okay this happened. They got to get back to work. But what happened in the month of May besides the worst things possible? We'll start with the good news. Canada wins gold at the World Cup, World Hockey Championships. Why? That's good for the Coyotes. Andre Tourigny was the head coach. Lawson Krause, Carcone were on the team. Shane Doan was the assistant general manager. Some good showings. Krause had 6 goals, 3 assists in 10 games played. And McBain was also on the team as well. Can't forget Big Bad Boehner. 2 goals, 2 assists for McBain in 10 games. And Carcone had 3 goals, 3 assists in 10 games for Canada. So good thing for Canada. It's great that, especially Krause and McBain, sort of part of our core moving forward, that they experienced winning, could bring that energy to the Coyotes along with the head coach that helped them win the gold medal. For Carcone, I'm not ashamed to say I don't think Carcone is a great NHL player. I don't think he's in the fold for the future of this team. I think he's a really good American Hockey League player, just like, Laurent Dauphin, who we're all familiar with. But, you never know with the free agency coming up, and maybe it's slim pickings for the Arizona Coyotes due to their off-ice situations. Carcone could fill a role in the bottom 6, and maybe he stays on the team for a bit longer. Maybe Andre Tourigny is more experienced in how to deploy Carcone. So we'll see how that moves forward with Carcone, but I don't see him as a top 6 player for the Coyotes for sure. So congrats to Team Canada. Team USA, I believe they didn't even medal. Canada beat Germany in the gold medal game. So Germany got silver, and then Latvia beat the US for bronze. We'll jump ahead here. Maximilian Zuber, who I rarely talk about, was on that German team who won silver. He also won the championship title for the German League along with Julian Lutz, who again I'm very hard on and disappointed with. Zuber was a 6th round pick in 2022. He signed an entry-level contract after winning the championship. So the reason why I never talked about Zuber, he's a defenseman. If you're not watching these German leagues, all you can look at is points. And he didn't really jump off the page to me, but, management, they see something in him. The Tucson Roadrunners defensive, roster is pretty bleak. The Arizona Coyotes as a whole, their defensive pipeline is pretty bleak as well. For me, Langlois, we'll talk about shortly, is my favorite defenseman prospect that doesn't play for the Coyotes. Obviously, Moser is my favorite defensive prospect right now that Chychrun got traded. So to me, it's Moser, Langlois, and Maverick Lamoureux, who was drafted 1st round last summer. He was dealing with injuries. Hopefully he has a better junior year this coming year, and hopefully Lamoureux lives up to that 1st round pick, pedigree. But for Zuber, 6th round pick, he signs an entry-level contract along with Aku Ratu. I know it looks like it's Ratty, but I've confirmed with people of European descent that it is pronounced Ratu. So a bit of a head shaker there. He signed a 2-year entry-level contract. Zuber's contract was for 3 years. Radu had a great season in Finland, bouncing back from a pretty disappointing season. He had 42 points in 53 games played for the same Finland team that Michelli, Hayden, and Välimäki played for. So there's some connection there with that Finland team and the Arizona Coyotes. So congrats to both of them. Both of them should be on the Roadrunners next season. The The Roadrunners, they got to beef it up. We'll get to them later as well. Going back to Langlois and Gunther, they're playing currently in the Memorial Cup Championship. Dylan Gunther and the Seattle Thunderbirds won the Western Hockey League division. Gunther led the whole WHL playoffs in goals with 16 goals in 19 games played. This guy was on fire. He was on a mission. I'm so happy that the goal for Gunther was to go back down to juniors, finish what was left to be done, and help your team win the WHL title and play in the Memorial Cup and hopefully win the Memorial Cup trophy. Last season, Gunther was injured and couldn't play in the Memorial Cup, so this is all new to Gunther. He already won the World Juniors gold medal for Team Canada a couple months ago. So as long as these prospects know what it's like to win, play in these hard pressured moments, that bodes well for the Coyotes, because we're lacking in that for sure. Langlois plays for Quebec. His team won the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League title. They just beat Seattle last night, so I think they're guaranteed to be in the finals or the semifinals, however it goes. Seattle still needs to beat Kamloops, the host city, of their tournament Wednesday night, and then maybe they progress forward. It seems to be a collision course of Seattle and Quebec for the final in the Memorial Cup, so it's great that the Coyotes have a good prospect in each of those teams. Langlois, like I said, as a defenseman, I like the numbers he's putting up. He's almost a point per game on that Quebec team. He was traded to that Quebec team, so obviously some management in that league saw potential for Langlois, and that bodes well for me. It shows that people want this player. They want him on the team. They helped him push to win the title and go far in the Memorial Cup, so that's why I like to see from prospects. I'm sure once this tournament is over, Langlois will sign an entry-level contract, and maybe we see him in Tucson next season as well. And then we get to the bad news, I guess. Cooley is going back to college. He says there's still some things left to do in college. His team, it's escaping me right now, Minnesota, they lost to Lipkin's Quinnipiac team in the finals, in the college finals. So he wants to go back to college and kind of revenge tour and win the title. Cooley, I would have loved to have him in the lineup next season. We are missing that second line center. We shouldn't have McBain as second line center. And so that just means we got to go out in free agency and find a second line centerman, just like we did last year with Bukestad, which at that time I didn't expect Bukestad to be a second line center, but he fit in well like a glove, helped Krause's and Michelli's game, and it worked really well. So Bill Armstrong's got to find that second line centerman again. Cooley said, he's not worried about the Arizona off-ice situation, but yes, the vote going no did make an impact in his decision. He says, one more year in college and then he'll be even more prepared to make the jump the season after this upcoming season to the NHL. Sam Lipkin, 7th round pick. He's really been laying it up at the college level for such a, really low draft pick in the 7th round. He's going back. Keep an eye on him. He's been making the rounds, making some buzz, and he should sign a contract after this second year in college for Lipkin. So keep an eye on those two players in college hockey. Farinacci and Mannix Landry have not signed with the Coyotes. Farinacci was playing in Harvard, was a captain of Harvard in the college hockey program. He's going to become a free agent. He was a 3rd round pick in 2019, so a John Shaika pick. I hoped he would have signed and helped the Roadrunners. The Roadrunners need help, but it's unfortunate he didn't sign, along with Mannix Landry, who was a 5th round pick in 2021. I believe that was a Bill Armstrong draft, but it could have been a draft where he wasn't allowed to draft. It really didn't look too far into that. But Landry was a centerman, along with Farinacci, and our center position pipeline was pretty bleak before last summer's draft. So Landry was our only center prospect that wasn't playing on the Coyotes. Thankfully now we got Cooley and Geeky, and I'm sure in the draft in 28 days we'll get some more centermen there. So unfortunate to see. You will love to see some help on the Roadrunners. Landry signed a 2-year contract with the Swiss League, so he's not even staying in North America. So I guess good luck to them. The Roadrunners got eliminated in the first round in the American Hockey League playoffs. It was an embarrassing showing for the Roadrunners in the playoffs. It was embarrassing the fact that they even made the playoffs. They finished 7th in the Pacific Division, and apparently 7 out of the 10 teams make the playoffs. They lost to the Coachella Firebirds, the team Shane Wright plays for. I believe the Firebirds are still in the playoffs. Some more bad news. Prosvetov, his numbers in the playoffs, he went 1-2. 5.25 goals against average and an 84.5 save percentage. Really poor numbers. Prosvetov had like a great 3 games with the Coyotes last season, and then just after that was really bad. Played poorly. Looked like Swiss cheese out there. Couldn't stop a beach ball. His numbers just plummeted and continued to plummet in the American Hockey League playoffs. He is an RFA, I believe. He's some sort of free agent for the Coyotes. So if the Coyotes say we don't want to sign him, use that contract spot for someone else, we're going to give up on you. You were part of that John Shaika regime. That could happen. Or they could sign him. He'll have to pass through waivers if they do sign him. But I don't think any team is going to take a waiver on Prosvetov. His numbers, both in the NHL and American Hockey League, don't look good as of recently. So I have no fear that he'll get picked up on the waiver wire. He's not like a Connor Ingram, who is one of the best American Hockey League tenders in the American Hockey League and was sent on waivers, and obviously the Coyotes picked him up. Michelli snubbed for the Calder nominations. The nominations were Beniers, who should definitely win it. I'm not upset at that. But Owen Power, the defenseman for the Sabres, and Skinner, I don't even know his first name, the goaltender for the Edmonton Oilers. Could be Jeff. I think that's the player on the Sabres, Jeff Skinner. His name's escaping me right now, his first name. But yeah, Skinner, the goaltender for Edmonton, got that 3rd nomination. We'll see when the voting and the winner gets announced, the top 5 votes. And if I don't see Michelli in at least the top 5 voting, that would be a major snub. I think Michelli for sure should have been in there instead of Skinner. I don't think Skinner did an amazing job. He just had some average goaltending because Campbell really, didn't do well for the Oilers, so they just have to rely on Skinner. Michelli, he had a more points per game numbers than Beniers. He was playing on a worse team. Michelli was put in more important situations than Beniers. I just think, Michelli, because of the situation of the Arizona Coyotes and the fact that he missed a lot of games due to injury, that probably went into the voting as well. And Owen Power, I rarely heard his name throughout the season, but, that's my ignorance and don't really watch the Sabres at all. But thankfully, Keller got nominated for the Masterton Trophy. Basically a trophy for a player who has overcome tremendous odds to put together a great NHL season. He probably won't win because he got nominated against Chris Letang, who has come back from his 2nd stroke and had a pretty good bounce back season. So I expect Chris Letang to win, and I'm not too upset about that. Killer obviously had a broken leg end of last season, came back and tied the franchise record for most points in a season with 86. So congrats to Keller to actually be nominated. It's still a pretty good feat. And then that's it for news. We got the draft of June 28th. That's very important for the Coyotes. I'll have a draft video soon. But I'll do some free agency videos first. I think that's less important due to the fact the free agency class is really abysmal this year. There's no really big names, and the fact that the Coyotes aren't going to be spending money, obviously, it's not an important, really, day for the Coyotes. I'm sure they'll find some value in free agency, but I'll have a video about restricted free agents and unrestricted free agents for the Coyotes first, and then we'll move on to the draft and try to see who the Coyotes will pick at 6 overall. It seems like it's one of the most unpredictable drafts after the top, 2 or 3 picks. There's so many mock drafts out there having their own unique pick for the Coyotes. So that's going to be more important and should go up a week or 10 days before the actual draft day. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching. It's been a hard time to be a Coyotes fan lately, but just keep your head up. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.